On a quiet morning in Colombo, a Buddhist monk prepares a sermon. A camera is set up. He starts recording, and a few minutes later, the video is up on YouTube.
My name is Galkande Dhammananda. I'm a Buddhist monk, and I'm heading the Walpola Rahul Institute. We are trying our best to bring Buddha's teaching to find solutions or put Buddhism into practice. Whenever we get the chance, we appear in the media, and whenever some issue comes, we try to bring what is Buddhist way of looking at it.
Dhammananda is one of a growing number of Buddhist monks online. Across Sri Lanka's social media landscape, monks run YouTube channels, Facebook pages, and live stream their sermons, using digital platforms to reach audiences far beyond temple grounds. But Dhammananda is far from the most prominent voice in this sphere. Many of the more visible monks promote a strongly nationalist reading of Buddhism, one that's closely tied to Sri Lanka's Sinhala ethnic majority. The influence of these monks stretches from temples to television studios, from political backrooms to social media feeds, shaping public debate at every level.
Buddhism is tightly woven into a lot of our social, political, relational dynamics that really shape Sri Lanka. And Buddhism is intrinsically connected to Sinhalese ethnicity. And because Sinhala-speaking people are also the majority, this also means that Buddhism has become more than just a philosophy or even an institution of religion, but really about an identity that is often used in a lot of political rhetoric.
අපේ ආණ්ඩුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ හැටියට බුද්ධ ශාසනය රැකගන්න 100%ක්ම ඒක රැකලා දෙන්න පුළුවන් ඇමති කෙනෙක් ඉන්න ඕනේ අපේ බුද්ධ ශාසනයේ. දැන් ඉන්නේ 50ට අඩු කරන ඇමතිවරයෙක්.
Buddhist monks really are kingmakers. And Buddhist monks historically in this country have incited anti-minority riots. They've gotten rid of and assassinated prime ministers for not being nationalistic enough. They are kingmakers.
There are multiple methods and platforms that these nationalist monks use. Some of them have their own platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and even TikTok. And they continuously put out content.
වත්මන් ආණ්ඩුව බලයට පත් වුණාට පස්සේ සිංහල බෞද්ධකමට වැඩිමනත් විදියට පහර වදින බව අපි නිරන්තරයෙන් අවධානය යොමු කළා.
It can be short videos, detailed content videos, and some of them even look like Buddhist religious sermons. And these kind of content are sometimes very emotional. You see very intense language that have been used, which are easy to rally the people around them. We see that the potential threat of an invasion or a takeover from the Muslims or the Tamils being possible. And they use these narratives to kind of promote insecurities.
Those insecurities run deep. Sri Lanka's nearly 3-decade-long civil war, fought between the state and a separatist group called the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, LTTE, ended in 2009 with the military defeat of the Tigers and an end to their aspiration of a separate state for the country's Tamil-speaking population. The end of the war, however, did not resolve tensions around nationhood, territory, and belonging. Sinhala-Buddhist nationalism grew into an even more powerful political force. Successive governments leaned on it as an electoral strategy, and many monks reinforced those ideas from temple pulpits, television studios, and online platforms. In many of these digital sermons, minorities, particularly Tamils and Muslims, are frequently cast as threats to the nation.
I think for any sort of nationalism or extremism to thrive, they require an enemy. And with Buddhist nationalism, it goes back to this historical idea, this reading of history, that Buddhism and Sinhalese identity have been at existential threat. And Sinhala-speaking people and Buddhists are, globally speaking, a minority, right? They're a very small group. Which also means the anxiety is also about numbers. That Sri Lanka is the only native homeland for Sinhala-speaking Buddhist people, right?
ඉස්ලාම් 2012 වෙන විට 9.7යි. 9.7 සිට 10.7 දක්වා වර්ධනය වීමක් සිද්ධ වෙලා තියෙනවා.
And the post sort of 2009 era made it a very fertile grounds for Muslims to be the target. We also see the end of the ethnic war, where Tamil separatists were defeated. So in the absence of the LTTE, there's now a vacuum for this common enemy for Buddhist nationalism, right?
I always try to emphasize that we are wounded nation. We have lots of wounds, historical wounds, intergenerationally transmitted wounds and direct wounds. And instead of going for healing, what I see in Sri Lankan context that you exploit that situation to gain power, to instigate hatred and violence.
තෙස්සවුරුදු යුද්ධ නිමා වුණා කියලා අපට තිබ්බ යුද්ධ නිමා වෙලා නැහැ. අපි තාමත් ඉන්නේ මේ යුද්ධයක් එක්ක. හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න ඕනේ. අපි තාමත් ජීවත් වෙන්නේ LTT එකත් එක්ක.
I think we are the first group to be vocal against those hate campaign as a Buddhist monk, and many people, they were waiting for a peaceful message from Buddhist institution, and gradually people started watching our programs, and I think that was the first time from Buddhist monk a voice came that was very warmly welcomed by many people.
However, countering nationalist monks online means fighting on terrain that does not favor nuance. Social media rewards outrage, speed, and emotional certainty, the very conditions in which grievance politics flourishes. Dhammananda's message asks for something slower and more difficult: self-reflection, empathy, and an honest reckoning with wounds that many in Sri Lanka still prefer not to confront. It's a hard message to sell in the country's media landscape. However, what Buddhist monks choose to legitimize has a real impact. Some use their authority to deepen divisions. Dhammananda is trying to use his to break the cycle.
I think Galkande Dhammananda Thero is, I don't want to say exception to the norm, but definitely one of the few more progressive voices, progressive Buddhist voices that we really see out there. And in a country that struggles with post-war reconciliation, a lot of Sinhalese and a lot of Buddhists don't want to reconcile with the fact that we've not been very good Buddhists in the last couple of decades, that we have in a myriad of ways been quite culpable in the violence inflicted on Tamils, on Muslims, on other minority groups. And Galkande Thero's messaging sort of stands out as the outlier because that's usually not what Buddhist monks preach right now, at least not the ones who are visible.
Buddhist monks will continue to have an influence in the Sri Lankan society, and I don't think that will change overnight. And I also believe there is a very profound need for media literacy training and for critical thinking training in this country, where people need to think beyond what they see. They need to be able to question what they are hearing on social media, to see a deeper levels of propaganda and to be more empathetic towards other communities. And I think those forms of reforms are difficult, but starting at even at a smaller level can bring in a big change in how our country is going to move forward.
Now everyone can use social media and say whatever he or she feels, and those who are peace builders, and for them what I suggest that not to be silent or not to think now we cannot do anything and lots of hate is there. No, we can exploit the same platform to spread the different message. So use that. That is what I have to share.
Thanks for watching. Now leave a comment. Let us know what you made of this week's program. If you'd like to follow the show and stay updated, you can find links to our social media channels and our newsletter in the description below.